Nitin, go sit down with Pradeep, near Pradeep. Just move a bit the chair. Just move it up front. The move chair a bit up front. Because we are another group just keep there. For they come in half an hour or start an hour. They come already, so something close the door. Oh, yeah. You have to go? After he left. Few guests. Wait, yeah. That's this one. After. Okay, no Now we should start. I need to make a live, do live.
Hi, good evening all. I would want everybody to settle down so that we can start with the presentation. Good evening again to all the guests present here. I would first introduce myself. I am Hina Kumar, the president for NFL events and representing NFL Group for this event today. We are very pleased to host Armin and his team for this introductory event today, where they are going to launch themselves, the CryptonairsHub. What I believe is it is going to be a revolutionary platform, and probably it is going to change the dynamics of the market. The first conviction that we got about this team is the team looked very promising, people full of integrity and so much of energy to give it to their work. So we thought of supporting them, and with little support, if they can make it big in Dubai market, we would be more than happy. I welcome you all team, wish you all the luck, and today they are here to present themselves, their presentation, to make you understand what they are launching, and they will be welcoming all questions and queries so that all of you get sure what they are offering in the market. Is it acceptable? What more do you want from them? Do you think are they absolutely prepared or not? So all of that, we will do that exercise. So next 1 hour is going to be very, very engaging for all of us. So I want Armin to start the show, and let us be the kind and patient audience to know what you offer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina, and of course the NFL Global Future-Led Investment LLC to make this event happen for us. It's very important what she does for us in the last 2 days because we had a lot of trouble, but now we are finally here. We are talking about our product. We are talking to you why the product is working so well over the last 2 years, and yeah, I hope everybody is fine and enjoyed also yesterday the dinner where we could get a little bit more in touch with you. And so for now we are going to start. I'm going to present myself again, and after that I will speak a little bit about the crypto market, and then we go over to the whole product. Thank you very much.
I think before they start, they deserve a round of applause for the hard work guests.
So, yeah, as you already know, my name is Arvin Herbert. I'm 28 years old and I'm an independent sales partner and advisor for CryptonairsHub. And I'm a licensed insurance and financial advisor in Germany. I'm now working for over 6 years in the crypto market. I mainly work in sales, but also in portfolio management, coin analyzing, education and exit strategies. But yeah, now enough about me. Before we start, I'd like to talk about the crypto market. Why it's so attractive for investors, its phases, and yeah, our performance over the last 2 years. I personally bought Bitcoin at a price of $1,700 in 2017, but back then, some of, or the most people inside this market were private investors, like me and some of you guys, yeah. But with the last bull run in 2020 and 2021, the situation changed drastically when big institutional investors entered the market, like BlackRock, Fidelity, Red Capital, and so on. And we saw a huge impact, not only on the price of Bitcoin, but also on the whole market. And today we are at the point where those are participating in this sector with ETF spots. So we saw it last week. The SEC confirmed the first spot ETFs in this sector, and we now had almost 2 years of almost down and ranging trends in the crypto market. So it was for buy and holding, it was a very tough time. Yeah. But the expert says that the next bull run is right ahead of us. And this, you can see here a chart of the crypto or of Bitcoin of the last 2 years. And if we would show you a little bit more data on this chart, you would see that between every halving of Bitcoin, there is a bull run. So the next and last halving of Bitcoin is dated for April this year. So yeah, the expert says that the next bull run is right ahead of us. And we are expecting that the next bull run is starting like mid till end of the year. Yeah, and this brings us on to the next point. Most likely everyone read the invitation where we were speaking about 450%. These days we are already further and achieved approximately 600% due to some stronger market phases. And this brings us already to the whole point of why we were performing so well and will be further doing. As many of you surely already know, the crypto market itself is a very volatile market. Yeah? But more like others, the crypto market is moving in very strong phases and patterns. So as the market is doing so basically 24/7, this can, compared to easily exploited in someone's favor. But how does this hold true? For example, if we have a look at the overall market development of the last couple of years, in this case a little bit more than 4 years, we see on the one hand that there are uptrending, so-called bull phases, and downtrending phases, so-called bear phases. Yeah, for sure most of you knew that already. Yeah, but in this case, so we are in a weekly time frame. So one candle represents 1 week of time of price action of Bitcoin, and if there is no movement, which is also happens quite commonly, or what happens quite commonly, we speak about so-called ranging phases. Yeah. But if we go to lower time frames, like you can see here, we see a completely different picture. What can be 1 or 2 candles in a 1 week time frame looks like a complete own trend direction in a lower time frame. In this case, 1 candle is 1 hour of price action in Bitcoin. Yeah? And this is one of the biggest benefits of the market. It does not just move strongly in up and down trends, but term up and down trend themselves has to be must be considered on a standalone basis. Yeah. But interestingly, many people, or should I say many traders, are not paying attention closely on this, because what in fact seems very interesting, because this approach to trade a wide variety of time frames allows to perform in whatever market situation, especially when trading futures and options, as it happens within CryptonairsHub. So to realize that the existence of a trend is a relative term and is spread widely enough throughout different time frames, this allows us to perform in almost every market phase. So because we are trading by using an algorithmically based approach, we are able to do this fully automatically managed 24/7, 365 days a year. There are many questions which commonly arise when we talk about it with other investors, like how does it work, or the most important things, where are the risks? Yeah. About these topics, we will discuss together with the founder of CryptonairsHub. So please welcome with me together, Mr. Philipp Deutsch.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for introducing me. You can see it in front of you. My name is Philipp Deutsch. I'm a consultant and tax advisor. I've got a Bachelor of Laws and Master of Science in the area of taxation and mathematics. I was working for a couple of years in the area of analyzing bookkeeping data, and back in the days that was our approach with which we came along as we implemented these models we used there on market data. Due to my background, I started very early with the different topics like different programming languages, but also data analysis, thank you, Ami, data modeling and financial mathematics. Also, you can see my partner Abend in front of you. I don't know, do you want to introduce himself or say a couple of words, or otherwise we just continue, perfectly fine. But in general, that are the most important points to think about me.
Thank you very much, Philipp, for introducing yourself. Before I want to investigate further regarding the functionality of the product, I would be interested in how you or we came along together with our team with an approach like that and turn it into a product.
Just to give you a very brief idea, we want to go quickly through it, it's not as important. Basically, the idea is back from the beginning of 2019 when we said we want to outperform the market in literally any market situation. So we had some researchers and came along with the crypto market, which seemed pretty interesting back then due to its low fees. So we made some researchers and came along with the whole topic of trading strategies and algorithm-based trading. Basically, and I then developed throughout 2020 and half of 2021 when we were able to come along with the first kind of framework, if you want so, for the different trading algorithms we are using today. Back in the days, mid 2021, Armin and Hades is here as well, came along with basically a business concept of how we could roll out the whole topic also to third parties, and that's why we're also here today. And after having some considerations also into that area, we started in 2022, basically with the 2nd of January, the first one, with the first wider go live, including our portfolio of different strategies, which diversifies different strategies, timeframes, and points. That's it very briefly.
It's fascinating how things sometimes develop, right? That all sounds very interesting. Thank you so far. But we already talked in a few words about the topic of performance at the beginning. Yeah. Do you think there are any reasons, not just why the whole topic works so well, but also performs so sustainable at a high level?
Well, initially regarding the performance, you can all see it in front of you. The green line is our trading return over the last 2 years, beginning with January 1st, 2022 until the end of last year. In red, you can see the Bitcoin performance. It's a little bit higher these days, but nonetheless, it's more or less plus minus zero on Bitcoin, while we have a decent development these days of 590%, so more or less 600%. Of course, you can also see there are phases where we also have minor drawdowns, but ordinarily they do not occur as common as, for example, for Bitcoin. And that's more or less caused by by different reasons. And this also is in context with the idea of why I think we do perform so well. As you already said, we have a completely algorithmic-based approach, and by this we do not have one problem other people who are manually trading would face, and that is human intervention. I see human intervention in trading as one of the biggest problems in products, and by eliminating this factor, we do not have any risk of, for example, mismanagement or whatsoever, or misinterpretation, as everything, approximately 95%, is automatically by the algorithms.
Yeah, we have often talked about the whole issue of automation in the context of these algorithms. At the beginning, when it was just about trading in general without any algorithms, you said that you wanted, or that you want to take a different approach on that in the future. Yeah, even if you didn't reinvent the wheel, as you said recently, you did try to incorporate your own approaches. how has this evolved in connection with the development of those algorithms?
Well, basically, before I answer the question, you must understand that if you're trading manually or algorithmically based, thousands and thousands of problems in a queue, literally. And we try to tackle the most problematic ones, for example, like the human intervention. When I talk to other traders, I often hear that the whole topic of algorithmic-based trading doesn't work out at all. You only profit in decision phases like bull or bear phases, but in the ranging phases, which are quite commonly, you always will face drawdowns. Obviously, these traders haven't understood one point, and that is that a trend itself is a relative term and needs to be taken into account, as I said before, on a standalone basis. And as we started to diversify between not just different points and strategies, but also between different time frames, something interesting became visible. That's exactly what Amit said, that the whole idea of a trend is a relative term. And pretty interesting, in fact, it is that when we are using these different time frames, so from 1 hour, a candle means 1 hour of price action, up to 12 hours, one candle means 12 hours of price action, we were able to cushioning ranging phases individually between the different time frames. Means if we see drawdown phases or ranging phases in the higher time frames, we are able to cushioning it within decisions in the lower time frames, but of course also vice versa. That's one of the topics where I think that we have a kind of different approach. As mentioned, as no trader I ever talked to ever told me about they're using different time frames. It's such a simple idea, but it works so perfectly well over the last 2 years. A second reason why traders told me that trading algorithms do not work in the long run is that trading algorithms you, for example, find on social media or YouTube or whatsoever are too simple. And if you ask me, they're right. We learned it by heart. Initially, we thought we can mix together, mesh up a couple of technical indicators and get a perfectly working trading strategy. That's in fact not how things work. So, as mentioned, I was working in analyzing bookkeeping data for our customers back in the days, and one day came along with the idea of let's apply these statistical models, let's apply them to the market data. And by doing so, we were able not just to came along with a very well working approaches. In my opinion, nothing works better than statistics in such a scenario. But we came along with different type of scientific models which we developed further. And by this, by and by, we were able to come along with such profits. I mean, it took also 2.5 years, but after that we had a very scientifical, empirical proved approach with which we are even today able, or in the last 2 years, able to perform very consistently.
Yeah, as we are talking about problems, I still remember some of your, I would say biggest pain points back then. They were of diverse nature, but for example, included the topic of testing and testing how and whether a strategy, how well a strategy performs. Yeah, how did this develop in connection with the topic of trading algorithms?
Well, at that point, we have the advantage of using or of doing so-called defect tests. Back in the days, we had to do the tests manually, what basically meant that we have to check each strategy, each setting, 5 to 6 hours approximately, to find out how well it would have worked. These days, we are able with the so-called defect tests to do these tests within 20 to 30 seconds on applying the strategies embedded in the algorithms to see immediately how well they would have performed. And by this, we are able to customize the settings and the strategies way better to the individual point and the underlying time frame. Second point that was quite interesting and that came along with the whole topic of algorithmic trading is that we are not in need anymore of checking the charts basically more or less consistently. There you go. Basically, it's something I mentioned before. If you have to do so, if you have to have trading sessions, for example, you always have the problem that at some point you might not be focused anymore, and therefore you are about to make mistakes by misinterpreting chart pictures or whatsoever. And by having this fully algorithmic-based approach, we were able basically to perform on the market 24/7, 365 days a year, and can spend more time on developing and keeping up these results.
It's exciting how things change just by taking technology into account. Thank you very much for that. And I would be interested, and our audience surely too, in how you plan to keep up those results also in the future. Did you make any plannings here?
Of course, we did any plannings regarding that point, but initially it might make sense to speak about the concept to understand where you can even adjust the system to that it works even in the future better. Basically, we have different stages within our project proposal. In the core, if you want, so there are the trading algorithms. They can be imagined like kind of our artificial intelligence, which make buy and sell decisions based on statistical data, for example, statistic models. These are accomplished or accompanied by our risk management. In our case, we have a 3-stage risk management where we take risk at different levels into account on trade basis and strategy basis, but also on market-wide. We also take market-wide risks into account. And thirdly, we got our consistent development, which provides the framework, if you want, so we operate each day and which we try to develop even further, as mentioned, to keep up these results also in the future.
As we are speaking about the trading strategies, would you like to explain, but please just briefly, how they work?
Yeah, of course. As mentioned, trading strategy is nothing else than kind of artificial intelligence. Basically, we start with the so-called signal generation. By this, as mentioned, we use different statistical models like multiple regression models and so on to find convergences, for example, between market data. When we find, based on the market data, a statistical good point of time to enter for long or short term, there basically can be two cases which can come true. You can enter long or short trade depending on the overall market direction. We pair this with some more technical approaches, but with so-called filter criteria. Okay, so we use 4 different kinds. They're very commonly used, but if you use them right, it's a very efficient way to filter for bad signals. For example, we have volatility filters, which help to prevent entering the market in strong swing and counter swing phases. We also have trend filters, which help to trade within the right trend direction. We have volume filters, which give information about the flow of volume between different brokers, between different wallets, and so on and so forth. And we also have momentum filters, which are correlating with the trend and measure how strong a trend in general is. This is more what helps to generate as many valid signals as possible, where we hit a certain target, like a 3 or 5% target for our trade. On the other side, we have some more technical approaches, for example, like dynamic position sizing, dynamic leveraging, dynamization of different stop-loss criteria, but also, and as mentioned before, approximately 95% are automized. The last remaining 5% are included in additional trade management we do, as there are some technical issues which we had not solved over the last couple of years, but that's more or less how each and every of our trading strategies is set up.
Yeah, sounds like trading strategies aren't even that complicated, aren't they? Very interesting, thank you, Philip. However, you already mentioned the topic of risk management, which is one of the most important parts for a customer, but also for us as a company to secure that we will be further performing at this high level. What have you developed there?
Basically, we have a 3-stage risk management in our case. You can already see the pyramid, which takes different layers into account. The base layer takes the risk for and on level of each trade into account. In fact, it's more or less the most important one. We got the middle layer, which brings in different methods for managing the risk within a strategy. And lastly, we have the top layer, which takes company or market-wide risks into account. If we have a brief look into the risk management at stage of the trade, there's, for example, I keep it very briefly here because it's very technical. For example, the auto movement from stop-loss prices based on the trade development. One point that is very, very important is the hedging by holding long and short positions within the portfolio. I mentioned before that we are trading different time frames, very small ones, but also bigger ones. So if you, for example, see a bullish trend on the lower time frame and a bearish trend on the higher time frame, we are usually, depending on the strength of the development, have long and short positions within the same, more or less within the trading this market movement, if you want to. And by this, we're not only able, if it's just a retracement, to overperform the market development, but we're also able, if the market should in fact see a reversal, to hedge, as the positions ordinarily have the same size. Therefore, if we should see a counter movement, the position remains stable by having long and short positions within the portfolio at the same time. The third point is also very interesting, as we have developed it further these days, the knocking of losses to avoid liquidation. Basically, we these days are able to hedge up to 100%, taking the trading fees into account. Then, of course, there are minor losses for a trade if we lose it. But we're trading a very high win ratio, so approximately 85% of our trades are wins. But the trades we lose are ordinarily very high losses. And therefore, we developed not just a system of locking losses, but we also developed it further to avoid basically any losses at all from the beginning on. And therefore, we have a very stable development. Of course, you saw it beforehand. There are minor drawdowns partly, but overall, by this development, we are able to perform very stable, very consistent. Regarding the risk management at the stage of the strategies, that's even more technical. For example, dynamic position sizing to minimize risk and maximize profits dependent from the current market phase. Same holds true for the dynamic leveraging, but also, for example, the dynamization of stop loss criteria to, well, you can see in front of you, filter statistically bad signals. So it's just important for you to remember there are different safety nets, if you want so, to avoid any kinds of losses, to make it as stable as possible for potential investing.
Okay, so just for understanding, because it was now quite a lot of input, or to repeat it in 1 or 2 sentences. So you hedge through direct trade management on the level on each trade, while using technical measures like the auto position sizing or diverse protection indicators like stop losses.
Exactly.
You hedge against market-wide risks through or on strategy basis, right?
Correct.
Okay, but I think what also is very important for all of us, what happens, for example, if we should see another so-called black swan event, like we saw it with FTX or other big exchanges. If an exchange goes bankrupt.
Yeah, for example, Binance, we had a lot of bad news in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Just for an example. For that specific case, we have the business stage where we hedge our risks. Ordinarily, we try to split the assets of investors not over just different coins, strategies, and timeframes, but also over different brokers. So, for example, Bybit, KuCoin, Binance, Kraken, Coinbase, and whatsoever is out there. Even if we should then see such a black swan event or bankruptcy of a broker, we have insurances in place. So it means if, for example, 5 brokers and 20% of the whole investment are on each of these platforms, and now let's assume Binance becomes bankrupt, the insurance we have in place, it's a daughter firm of Allianz, the German product in that case, they would be able to recover up to 60% of that loss. It means even if you lose 20% in the first instance, they would still be able to recover up to 12% of these 20% to hedge against these market-wide risks, like, for example, black swan events and bankruptcy of brokers. Besides that, we prefer currently an approach for high-net individuals, which takes so-called custodian accounts into account. Means that money always remains with an investor. For the future, we plan to have our own web, and you can also see it in front of you. It's currently in the planning, and the development's already started a couple of days ago, but it's just the beginning where we are right now. What would, how do you say it in English, to enable a customer to have the, so that he's even more able to manage his funds, see more precisely how profits are set up, how much profit will come from the trade. He would be able to manage the shares.
So he's like the only instance who has...
Exactly, he's the only one who's able to access his own assets. I mean, it's the same right now, but it's a more centralized interface for him, as we, for example, using different brokers right now, and we would homogenize it onto one platform for potential investor.
Okay, so to sum this also up, you combine a multi-level risk management with algorithmic trading that diversifies over different coins, time frames, and strategies. And now it's up to you, Philip. Yeah, please explain to people how they can benefit from that.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, we are currently planning to set up a fund here in Dubai. It would be a so-called closed fund, where we try to only aggregate high-net individuals, as we prefer to stay or to work, as we prefer to work closely with these high-net individual parties. Initially, we strive for approximately volume of 2.5 million. Which is our initial target, not just for this event, of course, but for different events all over, not just Dubai, but the Emirates in general. Basically, the fund will include different topics. You can see it in front. As mentioned, it would be a closed fund. The fund itself would, of course, also be locally managed. So we would have our partners here, potentially in Dubai, Whilst the assets itself, as mentioned before, would always be with investor. They would never be at our account or whatsoever, but would always remain here in Dubai or wherever on the world potential investor would be sitting. In general, if we should set up a fund, we would also do it via a regular fund share acquisition. So you as potential investors would become shareholder, would participate based on percentage sharehold on the overall volume of the fund, if you want to. And the first fund we plan to set up is a so-called mixed fund. We are trading Bitcoin and Ethereum in a mixed fund as mentioned, but we also plan, if we should see that there is interest in such a product like that one, that we would roll out our own Bitcoin fund, our own Ethereum fund, potentially a yield program or whatsoever, to give potential investors more opportunity, so higher risk profiles, lower risk profiles, and so on and so forth. Regarding the financial structure itself, we do not claim usually any, like you stated, any fees, any management fees. Thank you very much. So we only participating at profit. So only if we participating in a positive way, we would get some profit shares if you want to. I think that's the best. In our opinion, it's the best approach, as we only participate and we are more motivated to perform in a positive manner over a long period of time. And of course, for investors, like a product which we want to offer here, would come different advantages. Basically, we at CryptonairsHub had been founded 2 years ago and are very well established in Germany these days. We would strive to have more or less like a similar structure as in German, with regular repayments for an investor, so for example on a quarterly basis. Of course, there is also the advantage for an investor that he would get his returns. Of course, if we have a positive development, which is at least statistically very likely, that he gets returns from the first quarter or whatsoever, from the first month ago, depending on how we would set up the whole thing. What also brings us to the second point, that we do not need any kind of adaptation or whatsoever, as our product is already established. If there's only one investor and we should set up the fund, it would not matter for us in that case, as we are also able to perform just with one investor or 100 investors. And lastly, we need to check this with local lawyers, of course, but we would also try to avoid any locking of assets. So if someone needs to withdraw money, for example, we would also try to keep it as flexible for a potential investor as possible. And that's only a very brief idea of how we plan to set up the fund. Of course, it's all about the detail in the future, if we should set it up, if there are interested investors for a product like that. But these are the basic. This is the basic concept of how we're working, basically.
All right, thank you very much, Philip. I think we now have a more reliable impression on what we are dealing with in this case. Nonetheless, you still only one answer, because before you explain what your concept is all about, I asked on how the future plannings are. Could you give us just a rough idea on how we plan to continue, especially here in Dubai?
Well, of course, that would be the first step to fund here in Dubai. Currently, we are also talking to especially one party, NFL, about a potential future fund, depending on different factors, of course. But from February the 1st ongoing, we would potentially start, depending on the investors' interest, to set up the whole fund structure here in Dubai. Before we go live with it, at least we plan to do so within the beginning to mid-April this year, so it's to the beginning of Q2 if you want to. After that, we will basically straight keep on further developing our trading algorithms, as this is the base concept of everything we do, and it's branded with 2025, but that's basically what we do all day long. Or as there are still so many concepts we want to implement. I mean, mentioned it before, the trading algorithms themselves are kind of like of artificial intelligence, but we try to implement this whole topic of artificial intelligence, deep learning, reinforced learning in a way stronger manner in the future. And that will be the topics which will keep us busy basically after a potential rollout here in Dubai. And for any investor who wants to participate basically in our future development and therefore in our future performance, we will not have this offering limited into the future. It will remain valid just a certain point of time. We strive until mid to end February, so there is more clearness for us to have better plans. for all of those who are interested, we will of course offer face-to-face meetings where we could provide you with more details regarding how we are working, what would be included, and so on and so forth.
All right. Thank you very much, Philip, for the insights about the whole concept and the future plannings. Although I could assume that some of our listeners now have questions, so I would say before we start with our Q&A session, first I want to thank the Baci family for making this event happen, and also NFL and of course Hina for making this event happen, but also you, Philip, Arben, Haris, thank you very much, and thanks for all the complex insights. And of course, not done. Of course, thank you all of our guests today for taking the time, or you have invested in us to listen to us. And now, if there are any questions, feel free to address the questions to Philip, and after that, we will happily provide you with an answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say, why Dubai? Why not London, New York?
Well, it was basically regarding the connections we had here to Dubai due to Armin and Hannes. So we planned to roll out in Dubai first. It was more not an intended decision, it just developed like that.
I would say, why not Dubai?
Why not Dubai? That's a better question. Yeah, in fact. No, as mentioned, there
we need to justify, we still understand. I want to get answer from you. Thanks. The second answer was that, I know in your country, if you have this thing, I think you'll be forming a company in Dubai about this thing. So if you invest the funds, I think it will be taxed.
if we have profits in Germany and how it would be, depends on the double tax treaty, how's it called? DWA German, but double tax treaty, however, agreement, thank you. In fact, I do not know the exact agreement between the United Arab Emirates and Germany, but I would assume that it's not tax-free in fact. Or is it? Do you know?
We'll need to have the intervention of an expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Studies and tell us these tax structures.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I cannot answer it right now.
No, I think he said it takes time to answer, but it's better.
But we are also planning to spread it wider. So Dubai is just the first step. We want to go further. We want to go to Asia. We want to go to wherever in the world. And
need to be mentioned, I think, at that point, if you would set up a fund here in Dubai, the profits would come from Dubai. So if you are settled in Dubai, it would not be a German Dubai case. So I'm from the tax area, as mentioned before, but it would be a Dubai case. So I'm not sure how the tax treatment would be here, but in that case it would not be German Dubai, but Dubai is what?
Yes, because the money stays inside Dubai, you know. So that's
So we hope that answered the question.
Oh yeah, good. Welcome to Dubai.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, what is the minimum investment you can invest on this project? What is
The minimum investment for the fund itself is 50,000.
Also, it's our personal reference. Also,
Yes.
can take personal reference.
And return on investment?
Excuse me?
Return on investment?
Return on investment.
Return on investment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have seen
I
it.
can
600% over the last 2 years.
approximately, we're currently at 509%.
591 or something like that.
Due to a smaller drawdown in the last couple of days, but nonetheless, there it was.
And now the next bull ride is right ahead of us, so we expect that the outcome will be much better than the last 2 years.
Okay. I have one question.
Yeah.
Like other players in market, especially in Dubai,
Yeah.
to be sure as an investor, can I have a demo ride in real time? For example, if I am given a demo login and I see on that particular day how the candle works, what is the kind of returns that are coming? So is that any kind of possibility?
How do you get it?
Do you understand my question? No.
Yeah,
Okay, there are certain platforms in Dubai like Pepperstone and BD Swiss. Before I start investing with them, they give us a demo login.
Okay, I know. I think I know what you mean. It's like when you are registering on a broker and you have like a demo code, but we are not a broker.
You're not
So
a broker.
we want to set up a fund so the people are investing their money, and we want to make it as easy as possible for our customers and as safe as possible. Of course, so that they are putting their money inside and get returns for that. And that's everything.
Ordinarily, it works something like the following. We get our accounts and they get a so-called, they set up our own account on the broker. And over so-called custodian accounts, we connect them via an interface, technical interface, and the trades more or less get copied from us to their account. And for example, it's up to the technical settings. Profits will, for example, profits will be transferred to our account, And as mentioned before, the money will always remain with the customer. There is no special platform we are having as broker whatsoever, but we are only binding them to and mirroring what we are doing to theirs and copying.
Okay, and what is the minimum lock-in period?
Minimum, currently for our customers in Germany, we in fact do not use any locking period whatsoever because we want to have max flexibility for that.
Yes.
We know in Germany that we can do so, that's why we do it. Up here in Dubai, we do not exactly know how the legal framework would be, so that I mentioned before would be one point we need to clarify. But in general, we prefer it because I think it's way more attractive for our customer to have the flexibility.
Thank you.
What is the portfolio size in Germany?
Oh, it's not that big, in fact. I mean,
500K.
500K.
Yeah.
It's too small.
Yeah.
Right.
That we started before 2 years, but that's just the initial.
but of course, not everyone invested on the first day of the going live. There are investors who joined 2 weeks ago, for example.
Right.
So not everyone in there made the returns over the whole period.
Yeah, we what's now 19th of January.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in the last 2 or 3 months, we collected over 150,000.
Some investors withdraw the money as we offer flexibility. Some would take the profits will never come to the advantage.
So
So
it's like we want also like the flexibility for our investors, so they can use it like a cash flow, so to get returns every month, or they can use the compounding effect and compound their money over a long time.
But in fact, it turned out that many of them would instead of compounding it.
500K is euros, right?
Euros,
Yes,
exactly. It
euros.
would be
That's
550,000.
2 million rupees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, 2 million dirhams.
Approximately, yeah.
Something
Plus,
like this.
yeah.
Something there.
Yes. Yeah, but actually the question, is this chart actually based on the actual market or is this a simulation that you have run for last year? Last year, sorry.
This one?
Yeah, is this actually market tested
Yes,
or is this a
this is-
simulation that has been run?
No, that's the market.
On month end basis, though that's why it's a little bit chunky. But the green line are the last 2 years of trading, and the red ones mentioned are, as mentioned, based on the market end of the month market data. Here we go. Yeah.
No, I was just interested whether it's like actually based on the market or it's a simulation. Because in the simulation you can't have things in there, for example, as how to explain it, like lifetime events. For example, like you have with FTX, like you said, right?
Yeah.
And you can't have these things in the simulation.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
The FTX trend effect we trade very efficiently short into the short direction. We have backtest data over the last 6 years, and when we have calculations to calculate if a strategy would perform potentially profitable in the future, we're taking different points into account, like the fees, like a slippage, for fucking sake, sorry. Trading costs, for example. So if we set up a new trading strategy, this is all taken into account before we even take it live.
Alright, thank you. By the way, I'm also from Germany.
You also from
Yeah.
Germany.
No.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I have I'm Karthik. Congrats on your decision to come to Dubai.
Welcome.
My question is more about what about to extend what he asked on the testing model, right? So, how many asset types, coins you modeled this on to, and what is the time periods that you've tested it till now, right? So, the data is very small. If you look at it from a trading standpoint in the history of overall traditional finance, right? Like banking, stocks, you have a lot more data, right?
Yeah.
So this data set is very small. So from where is your confidence that you'll be able to sustain this, you know, in surprises like FTX, Black Swan, so many unknowns, and also crypto doesn't actually mirror the real world at all. So it's actually I like your confidence, but I'd like to know what your views are on that. Right?
So basically, just start off, we have approximately 6 years or 6.5 years of backtesting there. Of course, as you said, that's too much. much.
Yeah.
What we have implemented, for example, I mentioned before the multiple regression models. They are based on market data, which have, or they are based not just on the crypto market data, but also based on market data, for example, from the stock market. For example, the DAX in Germany, that's the index of the biggest 40 companies in Germany, for example. And
use the DAX as reference, or?
As we are basically using prediction models, we trained it, so there is kind of artificial intelligence implemented. We trained it on the market data also from the index, when it was in a similar status, when it had a similar nature as the crypto market right now, for example, regarding the volume. And based on this data, we started to develop prediction models, and then we started to train them, more or less train them, on the data for the crypto market, so like Bitcoin and Ethereum in our case. And as we were more or less precisely able, approximately 75-80%, to predict with our models based on the index data, an outcome of a potential future movement, we started to implement it on the crypto market. As it's more volatile, has more movement, we can trade it more easy in long and short direction. So it's basically based on other data, and then had been transferred to the crypto market, as mentioned, due to its nature, which is better regarding trading, at least in my opinion.
But we can use our strategies in whatever market.
We can,
We choose the crypto market because it's the most volatile, and you have the best outcome out of that. Yeah. But if this market is not tradable anymore, our fund is not going down or something like that, because we can use these strategies and this approach also on every market, stock market, forex market, whatever.
It needs to be mentioned that in first instance, the strategies themselves, the algorithms themselves, would adjust to changing market circumstances. So for example, if the market after the last halving should become less volatile due to more volumes, for example, the strategies would also adjust it. So for example, the leverage would be increased while the targets would be reduced. So for example, we would start to aim for 1.5 instead of 3%, while the leverage will be increased from 15 to 30, for example. Of course, this can lead to more volatility in the returns, but these are the topics we then would think about if we see that there is a change in the market, in market behavior, and the nature of the market. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you,
All right.
Yes. And what about regulation? Have you picked where you're trying to get regulated within Dubai, or not yet?
Not yet, it's more information, that's what we do right here. And as mentioned, if we should set up a fund in the future, it would include the same as we described right now, as we have it implemented in Germany.
And we will get all the best help from Ina and NFL. Thank you. So,
Sure.
anybody a question?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Yeah, what's the next step? Where to go from here? Okay, assuming that I'm interested to invest, I'll get my office to send you some few questions for due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
I trust they will be all fine. What is the next step?
Basically, it now depends on whose view. From an investor's view, the next thing we would offer to a potential investor is a face-to-face meeting to clarify any kind of questions. In correlation with that, we would close a letter of intent, which can be, of course, cancelled just by saying, sorry guys, I'm out. That's the nature of the letter of intent. And if we should see that there are enough interested investors, we would start to set up the fund from the beginning of February approximately. And then after it's clear that we are approximately able to go live with the fund to mid or end of March or beginning of April, then we would close the real contract, the investment contract if you want so, and the investors would be able, or we would set up together with investors the custodian accounts. They can pay in the money to their custodian accounts, we will take care for the interfaces, and that's more or less the process which we would follow. Yes, please.
I have two questions for beginners like myself. So, did you say the return on investment is 600?
So it at least was the result over the last 2 years. Of course.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Right.
So to put it simple, like if somebody invests 50,000 minimum, that will be 300,000.
Right.
Correct. Okay. So the second question is, let's say before 2 years ends, the money will be hanging on the platform, and the people, if they want to withdraw partially or maybe all of it, will there be any issues? I mean, how are you going to ensure that people will be able to get their return on investment?
Well, basically, the return is directly at your account. So, for example, if you have a custodian account with us, where we have the interface, all the profits minus a profit split will directly end up at your account. So
Every month, or
well, basically with each
Each
trade. So
trade.
it could be each and every day. Basically, it depends on in what interval trades would come up. Because not
And in
each
what
and
time
every day
frame,
there
yeah.
is a trade, but
okay,
basically within each trade the performance will be mirrored to your account. So basically, if we have a month where we make minus 5%, you started with 50,000, then you would be at 47,500 or whatsoever. And if we next,
obviously it will fluctuate. Yes.
of course, yeah, exactly.
All right, and how will you ensure that, for example, your website is not going to shut down? And in Dubai it happens. It didn't happen to me, but my acquaintances told me that when they invested in Bitcoin, they put money and they wanted to take the returns after 6 months. The website is shut down and we don't know where the company is. So to ensure this, like the worst case scenario, how investors can be.
I can answer you that because I'm over 6 years right now in the crypto market, and I have seen many scams. Yeah, and me personally, I also lost over $100,000 in scams. Yeah, which looked very, very good, influencers, stars, whatever. But with the time, there comes the knowledge. You see what's suspicious and things like that. But in fact, that we ensure that we are not going out with the money is that we have a partnership with NFL, one of the biggest funds here in the United Arab Emirates. They have 8 offices all over the world. So if we are working with them together, they don't, or they would not work with us together if they want to put dirt on their name or something like that. Yeah. And also, as we said, in the future, we want to have our own intuitive web app. So we want to protect the funds or the customer from all sides, not only on through our risk management, yeah, for the trades, for the strategies, but also on business side. So if any exchange or broker is going bankrupt, so because we are straying or diversifying our risks, that we are like, if you are putting down 100,000 inside, so we are putting it on 5 exchanges, so that if a single broker goes bankrupt, you don't have too much losses. But for that we have an insurance. So for first instance, it's now for Germany active, yeah. But we want also to do this, of course, for a fund in Dubai, and that should be no problem, because it doesn't matter where the company is. And on the other side, as I said, we want to develop our own intuitive web app. So it will be a Web3 solution. So you can connect it with your wallet, and you are the only instance who can access the wallet or withdraw money or deposit money or whatever you want. So there will never will be money inside the company's bank account or something like that. Of course, in the first how do you say it? In the first instance, of course, if you are paying it in, yeah. But then we are going to make this custodian account. So we're already.
I think you did not get the latest news. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Not even for pay-in. Would be on our own wallet, which is
Okay.
connected to your side.
So the money is never going through our hands.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I would also want to add something into it. The question was very right, and I think every investor has this apprehension that once I put the money, how am I sure that this is the right portal, this is the right team? What if it closes tomorrow? So that is where NFL comes into picture. We are a 20 years plus old organization in Dubai, having our physical office. That adds a lot of value and credibility to the team, and that is why yesterday when we hosted the event, it was just a dinner get together. We wanted to have the presentation in the office so that everybody come and have a look at the physical office. Even when the team is back in Dubai, Germany, we will have a help desk here to help you all with all your deposits and withdrawals and questions and queries. I mean, what is prevalent in Dubai, we are trying to make a little change to that. But yes, what legal assurance should be given to the investor, we all are working on that way, where you are assured legally and through all possible agreements, where you can sleep with a lot of relief that okay, the money is safe being put here.
And in case of dispute, it will be the Dubai Dubai was applicable?
Of course, Dubai. Because the model is entirely getting designed keeping in mind the residents of Dubai in terms of tax, in terms of where you need to take your legal escalation. So I hope I'm right in saying that.
Yeah. What is the valuation?
The valuation of the company.
You will add that more.
In fact, we just did. So, as we do not intend to sell it from today to tomorrow.
I think they've already told what their current portfolio is in Germany. That is anonymous to the valuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will get bigger.
Yeah.
Or more valuable. Yes.
You are talking about we, so we means that they are going to be doing some joint venture with your company
Yes.
in
Yes.
Dubai?
Yeah.
Because you're already based here.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other question I had was that, it's like you're going to manage our funds somehow. We just relax and wait for the things to go up. How much will we charge for us? What are the expenses we will minus before we get our funds? What
Ordinarily, for German high net individuals, we take 20 to 25% regarding on the agreement. For low net individuals, how we would call that, beneath 50,000 investments, we take up to 30% of the profit shares, but it of course depends on the overall agreement with the investor. But as mentioned, 20 to 25% of the profits, so assume 10% return, 2.5% of these would go to us, and 7.5% would be credited at the investor's account.
And there is no limit. So if we are making like 50, so we had months where we had like over 100 person in the past.
It's very, very rare, just once.
Just once, yeah, okay, but we had it, or 50 person, 40, 60, so there is no
No limit
no
upwards.
limit upwards.
But
So
such ones are very rare, I think.
yeah, they are very rare, but they
I think two of
they
three
arise
times or more.
in bullish phases also, and also
They do.
the market is going down. So there is no maximum of return.
Because I understand you take 25%, am I right?
On average.
On average.
Yeah, that's the profit share. So like performance fee, you can see it like that. But we are not like the banks. We are not robbing the people. So if we don't perform, we don't change any or charge. Yeah, thank you. We don't charge any fee for that.
So we don't take any upfront fees, no management fees, nothing. We only get paid when we have a positive performance.
Yes.
So when I say you're going to get 25% of the investors going to invest money in Dubai, we are successful, you are also successful.
Yes.
How do you plan to utilize this money for what? Some charity, some events given back to the society, or what are you going to do? It's my next question, because it plays the important part. If I'm going to give you 25%, I would like to know how you're going to use it in the future.
So we have already in the German model 2% every month of the whole how to say it, whole money which is coming.
Or revenue.
Revenue. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot the word. 2% of the whole revenue every month is going in charity. So this is also for us very important, but for the future. So this profit share is also for the company, so that we can build some.
Can work with, can set up, for example, more development.
Yeah, so for the web app, for future development, because in our company everything is self-funded, and it will be everything self-funded. So that's, as he already said, we don't need a mass adaptation, we don't need like 100,000 investors or something like that, and that's also why we are targeting high individuals to say, okay, I rather have 200, 300 customers than 100,000 where I only can make email support, but if you have a problem tomorrow or something isn't going well, then you can call me and we can meet up, or we can do a Zoom call or something like that, and we have a stronger bondage, through the between the German side, between the customer and or the investor and the company.
Of course, we also need to live from that. This is our main business, but it does not mean that there is nothing left for charity, for example, in other projects.
But we are also planning further. Like, we have to see how big it gets, So, but our goals are big. So, yeah. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
थोड़ा सा हिंदी का मैं बोलूँगा
जी, मैं translate करूँगा।
अगर कैश पैसे इंडिया से लेते हैं, इंडिया से इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो वो कैसे रिटर्न आएंगे, कैश वापस अपने को इस बिजनेस में चले?
वहाँ पे हम हेल्प करेंगे, हम लोग हेल्प करेंगे, वो हम मैनेज करेंगे. द क्वेश्चन इज इफ दे वांट टू पार्क सम कैश फ्रॉम इंडिया हियर,
Yes.
how will that be done and how will they get returned back in cash there in their country? So I told them that we as NFL
Yes.
will manage that.
Yes.
Okay. So the questions answered, right?
मतलब उसको अगर हमें बैंक में भी चाहिए होंगे तो मतलब यहाँ से आप लोग हेल्प करके
जी.
देंगे, कैश हम आपको देंगे तो आप उनको
जी, बैंक में दे सकते हैं.
You can also tell him because he don't get any bitcoins or something like that back, so he gets money back on his bank
So
account.
that's what his question was, that can I get the return in my bank account?
Yes, of course. Because you are paying it in with cash or from your bank account, and you will get it back because we are.
नो हम कैश पैसे आपको
कैश के साथ आपको मिलेगा वापस बैंक में.
ये मैं जानता हूँ, मतलब मैं हवाले से आपको देता हूँ
जी,
पैसे
जी,
2
जी.
नंबर के
आपको मिलेगा बैंक अकाउंट.
एक नंबर कर देंगे सर. नहीं उसमें मतलब डिफरेंस
उसका इनवॉइसिंग कैसे मैनेज करनी है वो हम करेंगे. That's doable for us, Imran sir.
So the question is answered, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes.
What is the maximum liquidity for investors for your liquidity that can be paid using your algorithm?
Basically, on calculations, of course, the market can change. In the current market circumstances, we will be able to trade up to 50 million. I mean, it could, of course, be as mentioned, there's a little bit of wiggle room that we have to reduce, for example, at that point of time, the leverage, and only would be able to trade, for example, 40 million or whatsoever with such a leverage. Of course, there is a certain point of time where you very need to reduce it as it's not manageable anymore. But in general, current planning is up to 50 million. Based on the different kind of strategies, different kind of coins, and different kind of time frames, we're able to spread very widely. So,
One question, one concern, listening to all the questions. If any investor wants to see you in person and discuss in details for next 2 days,
Yeah.
can Elena line up few meetings here in office?
yes, of course.
And that will be because, I think few people would like to discuss it privately with
Yeah,
you.
So of course it's no problem. So either way, the plan is that because they have also their business to do in Germany, we have somebody to be there present. But the planning is that 2 of us will be always here. So in the
Perfect.
future, of course, yeah. If we are setting up something, okay, then 2 of us or at least 1 of us will always be here. And if not, we can come for 1 or 2 days. It's no problem.
Doable.
एक सवाल और,
जी.
अगर कोई पैसे दे देता है कैश में तो उसकी कोई रिसीविंग मिलेगी या फिर मान लीजिए कि उसको कोई डेथ हो जाती है किसी की, जिसने पैसा दिया किसी की डेथ हो जाती है तो उसके हेयर्स को वापस कैसे करेंगे आप?
2 concerns. Somebody pays you in cash. What kind of invoice or receipt will he get? What kind of agreement he gets into with you for the acknowledgement of the payment that you've received in cash?
इसका सवाल अगर कोई मर जाता है
मैं वो भी करने लगी हूँ.
Till today, nobody paid us in cash. Yeah, so
So we will have to devise a model for that. Some
there
acknowledgement.
is.
We will manage.
There is because you have exchange.
Contract.
Yeah, you have. I was very often in Dubai and exchange money through exchanges, and so you can put it like into the bank account without a problem. So you get a receipt for it, or you exchange it on your opening.
No, that will manage by NFL.
We will manage.
Also, yeah, of course.
मैंने सवाल पूरा नहीं है ना.
अभी अगला पूछ रही हूँ. If the investor passes away,
फिर कैसे चलेंगे हमारे
so
हेयर्स को
which
कैसे
link
करेंगे?
do you have a nominal kind of thing?
It's called
Basically, something that's regulated.
मेरा सवाल नहीं पहुंचा अभी.
I think that will Imran sir will answer. Imran sir, इसमें अगर जो इनका सवाल है, ये अपना नॉमिनी कैसे डिक्लेयर करें?
नॉमिनी डिक्लेयर कर दें फॉर्म के अंदर और मेक द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. आपके पास कोई फॉर्म में
हाँ जी, ये कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में आपका नॉमिनी हम डिक्लेयर करवाएंगे लाइक एवरी बैंक डज.
With the beneficiary.
With the beneficiary.
नॉमिनी आप कर दें फॉर्म में डाल दिया जाएगा.
So his comfort zone is there. Then
Yeah.
नहीं मैं 61 इयर्स का हो गया हूँ, कल मर जाऊँ पैसे देने के बाद तो कैसे पैसा वापस जाएगा बच्चों के पास?
हाँ वही है ना बता दिया आपने
I am 61 years old. If I put the money today and tomorrow I die, will it be returned? Goes to my heirs.
That's in the contract.
The concern only.
That's a part of the contract.
Okay, thank you.
61 के लग नहीं रहा है इसका 61 के टच वुड लग नहीं रहा है माशाल्लाह टच वुड
जज़ाकल्लाह नहीं मैं इसीलिए यहाँ दाढ़ी बना के नहीं है कि थोड़ा बड़ा लगूँ
इंशाल्लाह 19 मंथ तक प्रॉफिट ही लेंगे इससे कह दिया जाए
थैंक यू
Okay, are there any other questions?
A lot of people are going to do it private.
What is your name, sir?
My name?
We need to have that private conversation and whereas they can,
Yeah, of course.
you will
Of
have a
course.
more comfort zone.
Of course. That's what we
Because
also do.
really, that's fine. There's somebody who likes us one-to-one,
Yeah, of course.
We
it's not
also
so-
shared a Calendly link to Elena, and she can also provide all of the
Yeah, this
participants
was a
today.
good point from Ina that a lot of people, they might.
You can do it also after that because we have two of our other representatives of the company, and we will do a second run for the presentation if needed. I think so, and if not, we are gonna do it for Zoom. But after that, you can speak to them in one-on-one as well.
Plus, this was a surprise for us actually. We have a lot of people who will be interested. Definitely, next we go, we'll have lot of more good people who knows
I've
about
got the
it.
plan there. And also for cross branding, we need to integrate few things on our website also. We've discussed that. I'll sit with you guys and see that how we
Whoever wants to make personal visit, register them under this.
That's what
All right.
So they are gonna leave at Monday, and I'm here till because we have our business to do. We have a very tight calendar or schedule, and because of that, but we will stay in touch with NFL, so they are the middleman. If there are any questions or something like that, you have our contacts, meetings or something like that. That's no problem.
We are always there for our needs.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we are finished. Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
So if anybody has any questions or
Yeah,
want to do
we are
a
all
one-on-one
available
meeting,
to
you
sit
can do it
with
with
us.
them guys.
Flyers here.
Yeah, you have other flyers.
Sorry to ask you.
Braucht ihr auch einen Flyer oder?
Deswegen wollte ich mal nachfragen, ob ihr da irgendwie Pläne habt
Thank you, sir. Next banker, Bison. I was vice
So that you know we take care of your
But on average, we have 25.
You're a bit late when everything finished.
I think you have